Let's turn to Caren Morrison. She's an associate professor of law at Georgia State University. Professor, I got to start with this mugshot, this iconic mugshot seen around the world. Clearly, Fulton County Courthouse wanted to send a message here. We did not see another mugshot in the three other indictments. We saw it in Atlanta, and the message is no one is above the law.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right.
So why did we not see it in the three other indictments, in the three other cases? Why not send a similar message?
Well, I think that each jurisdiction, makes its own judgments and determinations about how it wants to proceed. For the two federal cases, I think not releasing or not taking a mugshot and not releasing one kind of goes along with the fact that there's no cameras in the courtroom, and it's a much more sober kind of proceeding. As for New York, it just has different practices than Georgia. But in Georgia, it was very clear that the sheriff wanted to the extent possible, treat everybody the same.
So explain to us why this case in Georgia is such a big deal.
I think it's such a big deal because of two reasons, really. One, these charges are very serious. Racketeering charges, are some very serious felonies that involve a period of time and multiple different crimes all sort of strung together in a loose arrangement with a loose group of people. And in addition, because it's a state case, if he were to be convicted, he cannot pardon himself or get a friendly Republican president to pardon him. So he would be he really would be subject to the law in Georgia in a way that he would not be potentially if he were to win the presidency again and be convicted in federal court.
The chances of this case going to trial in October, I think the DA has proposed October 23rd. That's just around the corner, Professor. How likely is that to happen?
Well, you've got to understand that for that particular case, that's just dealing with one single defendant, Kenneth Chesebro, who asked for a speedy trial. The DA, possibly to his surprise, possibly not, said, fine, how about October 23rd? So it's possible that that case with that one individual might go ahead, but they're going to if it did, it would be split off from the other defendants who have already, some of them made motions, including Trump, explaining that they do not want to move that fast.
So what is next for Trump himself, legally speaking? Our correspondent, Philip, you just heard from him. He said there's another possible court appearance, perhaps next month?
Yes, well, there's definitely going to have to be an arraignment one way or another. This could include a court appearance, which it usually does in most jurisdictions. That an arraignment just means that the defendants come before the court, they are read the charges aloud, that is, they are informed of what they're accused of, and they plead not guilty, typically.
And go ahead, I interrupted you, go ahead.
No problem. But the thing is, in Georgia, there's a possibility of, you can waive your appearance at arraignment, and you can simply submit a paper form saying that you plead not guilty, and then the court moves on from there. But that has to be, that's like the next stop. There's the not guilty pleas, the informing of what the charges are, and then typically a schedule is set. So there's usually going to be a schedule for motions, that is the requests that the defendants have to the judge, which will be opposed by the DA, and then the judge will decide. As you know, there's already several defendants who have moved to get their cases transferred to federal court. I would expect to see the same from Trump, although it's possible that he's going to wait and see what happens with Mark Meadows and Jeffrey Clark, who have moved to move to federal court, and they have a hearing on Monday. So we'll see how that works out.
And finally, Professor, Trump continues to say and really post things that are simply not true. Do you envision a situation where a court, a judge will say, you are a defendant in 4 different criminal cases, you are not allowed to say these things? Can there be a possible gag order?
I think that it is possible. It's obviously a very delicate situation because he is the front runner for the Republican nomination, so his his First Amendment rights are particularly heightened. But he, at least in terms of the bonds, his release order in Fulton County, he is not supposed to intimidate any witnesses or try to influence anybody. And it's possible that some of his tweets or statements at rallies could fall foul of that requirement, and a judge might basically tell him to, rein it in. But we'll see what happens. There's going to be a push and pull with that, I expect.
All right. Caren Myers Morrison joining us from Atlanta. Thank you.